at 5:21. That's right here. You can please rejoin the meeting. Okay. So continue with the next items, right? Until I say I call to order. And is this an action item? Yes. Action item number 3.1, we have the revision of adoption of the agenda for the CMI meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Presidents. It was my motion. Edward had a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Edward had this a second.
Edward, a second. Please vote. The agenda for this meeting has been approved 5-0. Now we have our presentation by the student representatives to the Board of Trustees. Vice President Nelson.
Okay, from CMI, Cadet Major Miran Hussein.
Hello. Okay, cool. Sir, before I ruin this, how do I pronounce your last name? Arauz? All right. Yes, sir. Good evening, Board President Arauz. Good evening, Board members. Good evening, Superintendent Bennett and Cabinet. I am Cadet Major Miran Hussein, the Regimental Commander for the California Military Institute, and it's an honor to be here again. Is it working? Is this me? Oh, okay. I think it's on her. Okay, that's fine. So, Link Crew hosts an event called Coco and Cram, and Link Crew is a group of seniors and juniors who take a voluntary service to help the freshmen of the California Military Institute. Sometimes these 8th graders turn 9th graders don't really understand the concept of high school just yet, and they're just grasping it now. So what Coco and Cram is from yesterday, the day before, and tomorrow, from 3 to 4:30 after school, the seniors and the juniors are taking their time to tutor these freshmen in subjects that they may be struggling on. So next week is our finals, and we thought this would be the best week to help them out. And we had a pretty good turnout, about 30 to 40 cadets that are freshmen. And what the fun part about this is that they get the first word, cocoa. They get a lot of hot chocolate, a lot of popcorn, a lot of candy. It's a lot of fun for everybody. Here's another picture. So Camp Pendleton trip. Some of our cadets, and some of them are right here actually, they're the leadership cadets or the staff members. They run the California Military Institute. And I emphasize this every time I come here, is that it's a cadet-ran school. The cadets run the cadet side of the program. So these cadets, they get to take a little breather, a little break, and go to Camp Pendleton and have a lot of fun. So what they did is they get to go through virtual simulators. They get to go through leadership reaction courses. They get to be taught by the Marines. They get to shadow some of the Marines and see how they run their day-to-day operations. And they also got to spend a lot of time at the beach having fun and running around in the sand. So go ahead. This is them in uniform. Go ahead. And this is them out of uniform. So I want to emphasize real quick before we move on to the next slide is that these cadets, they go from one moment in a uniform and then they go back to being kids just by taking off a uniform. And these are some of the most incredible students that I've ever had the opportunity of learning with. And I'm so glad that they had the opportunity of going to this trip. You can skip this video. So live stream blood drive, California Military Institute, the ASB of our school, hosted a blood drive at our school. And this was, again, a cadet-ran blood drive. Of course, the cadets weren't, pulling blood out of people. But they were facilitating the event. They were making sure everyone ran by smoothly. And I think my favorite part was that if someone needed a hand to be held, they got their hand to be held. I wasn't one of those people. No. So tomorrow we're having the passing review. And for those of you who don't know what a passing review is, it's... Oh, I'm so sorry. This just in, it's on Friday. This Friday, passing review. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's an event where you have the entire school formed up. And they go through some pretty incredible drill sequences. And you get to see It's pretty amazing. 5th graders all the way to seniors, standing in a formation, marching by, and the most incredible part about all of that is the self-discipline. Some people think it's not that hard to stand still for a few minutes, but these 5th graders get it down to a T. And we have 29 Palms Community Service event. What this is called Treats for Marines, and the cadets go to Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, 29 Palms, and they give these Marines, they help them out, they give them treats for Marines. And these Marines have been going through so much training that this is their one vacation that they get to get. And these cadets, they'll be handing them treats, they'll be talking to their kids, they'll be dressing up in costumes, and it's going to be so funny watching my battalion commanders and my sergeant majors wearing a SpongeBob costume. I look forward to that so much. If you guys have any interest in joining us in these events, especially the passing review that's coming up this Friday, my email is attached to this presentation. Feel free to email me, and I will put you on that guest list. I'll put you on a VIP list. Go ahead. To the high schoolers that are in here, good luck on your finals. We're all going through this together, and for me, this will be my second to last final until I graduate, and for some of the people, that's how they feel in this room. So I'm grateful to the Paris Union High School District for the education that you guys provided me, and this is my second to last final, so. All right. And before I leave this board, I'd like to make one small comment. Although she is not here, there's a teacher in my life that's made a big impact on my student career. Her name is Miss Ryan, and whatever happens, I'd like to say, and even though she's not here, I'd like to thank her for the opportunity she provided me over the school year. So whatever happens, I'm so grateful, Miss Ryan. I don't think she's here, but I'm so grateful that she has been a mentor for me. Thank you.
CMI TA President Brian Dierswager.
Good evening, President Arauz. I want to get that right as well, too. And Board and Superintendent Bennett and Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. So again, my name is Brian Dirkswager, and I'm the CMI TA President. I come to you tonight about a serious concern that I believe urgently needs your attention and action. This is in regards to an agenda item number 11.3. A member of our unit has had serious allegations brought forth against her, and the very consequence of these allegations have the possibility of forever ruining her ability to ever teach again, as well as legal ramifications that jeopardize her very freedom. I want to be clear, I'm not here tonight to argue the validity of these allegations, but I'm here to call into question the member's rights to due process being denied and what is morally and ethically right. I can't think of a time when I've seen such a rush to judgment. The member and I were just informed of the decision to terminate by HR on Monday morning of this week. The member and I never even received the results of those findings until yesterday afternoon. Again, these are serious and incriminating allegations. Shouldn't the member be granted the time to review and address the allegations? Shouldn't the member be given the opportunity to see the results of the investigation and perhaps explain each of these findings? I liken this whole process to a court case where a defendant has the charges read against them, and then instantly the judge says the defendant's guilty without even hearing the merits of the case and the constitutional right the defendant has to address their accuser. But that's exactly what's happening here. Our member was informed of the allegations and instantly was told they were being dismissed and found guilty, you might say, without even the opportunity to address their accuser. All I ask of you tonight is to give our member her voice, let her explain her side of the story, and submit evidence to support her claims. Let us know that all the sides have been heard and that the process was fair. Up until now, it's not been equitable. When will she be given her voice? I ask you to please postpone this decision until at least the next board meeting so her voice can be heard. Thank you.
CMI Principals Update.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Aral. Congratulations. And Board, congratulations. Superintendent Mr. Bennett and Cabinet. My Moran Hussein did such an outstanding job that I defer to him tonight. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Invitation to address the Board of Trustees on agendized and non-agendized items. I need to read this one. Yeah. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda item or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president might increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that the additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. We have the speaker, Ken Johnson, CTA, agenda item number 5.1.
Board President Dr. Rao, school board members, Superintendent Bennett, and district personnel, good evening. It is very rare for me to address school boards. In fact, I've only done it twice in the past 10 years, but this evening there is an issue that warrants my speaking to you. Let me read to you your board policy 4100. It says, the governing board recognizes that teachers and other certificated personnel work closely with students in carrying out the district's educational goals. The superintendent or designee shall ensure that the duties, responsibilities, and district's expectations for certificated positions are clearly defined and made known to each member of the certificated staff. I am addressing you on behalf of the proposed discipline dismissal item that you will talk about in closed session. When we're dealing with employees and possible misconduct, we must have proper notice of a rule. In other words, that member has to be aware of what the expectations are, the behavior that they ought to engage in, and simply giving someone a manual after they've begun their duties does not suffice, especially in light of the fact when they have received information from predecessors about how to do things, and those instructions do not conform with the district's alleged policy. And we ask you, with regards to your decision, how does it hurt to postpone this decision until the next meeting? We've got 7 days left until the Christmas break, and depending on when you schedule the additional meeting in January, it may be a total of 12 to 15 days. How does it hurt for you to delay that decision until that time and act? Procedurally, the district has already operated in a harmful manner. This item for dismissal was placed on the board agenda prior to the employee having an opportunity to even know that this was going to be an item. You've got 72 hours that it has to be posted. The member did not meet with the district until Monday, and at that point, as was mentioned earlier, was not even provided a copy of the charges against her. And I know I'm going to run out of time, so I beg your indulgence for just an additional minute. The investigative report was received yesterday. No opportunity on behalf of the member, the employee, to meet and present a response, and neither did our representative have time to clarify the facts. Beyond the concerns with the timing and lack of due process, or the content of the report, it's speculative and inconclusive, and even the report acknowledges, and I quote, "We believe additional investigative procedures can be completed in this matter," and it also says that willingness to continue investigation on their part if the district chooses. 2 staff members and 2 parents were interviewed according to the report, and that is not conclusive and substantial. how can an employee follow procedures if he or she is not aware of them and did not receive training, and above all, is following past practice? How would any one of you accept being terminated without having an opportunity to present your side of the case? You're all in some way affiliated in education. You've been advocates in the past, and some of you continue to be advocates. There is due process, there's fairness, there's equity, there is compassion. As you decide today, ask yourself, will your decision be just? Will it be warranted? And will it be right? I urge you to look deep inside your heart, and for all the reasons stated, delay your decision until a subsequent school board meeting. I listened to a song today that said, there isn't a right way to do the wrong thing. You can justify it, but it's still black and white. You can paint it any shade you would, but it remains, there is only one way to do the right thing. I hope you do the right thing.
The next speaker, Brittany Tarula, agenda item 5.1.
So we decided to do this together. So good evening, Board President Arauz, and board members, and Superintendent Bennett and Cape.
This is Stacy Bencomo, and I am Brittany Chua. We are here to talk on behalf of the character of Miss Ryan. She is our cheer coach, and we are very lucky to have had her as our coach. And much of CMI has been very lucky to have her being there. And we very much appreciate her, and she's only there to help. She has never been there to hurt us. There is nothing but good that is left inside of her. There's no way that she is bad in any way. We just love her so much, and anything that is said against her, we know we question it because she has so much good in her heart. She has only done stuff to help CMI. She has never done stuff to hurt CMI.
So we understand that all you guys are here to do is do your job, and we understand that Miss Ryan all she was trying to do was to do her job. But her job, along with being a teacher and our cheer coach, was to be there for us when we needed her to be there. Our school site didn't, for most of the majority that I've been there at CMI, which has been 6 years, they didn't consider cheer to be an official sport. So most of our money didn't go to what we needed to go to. So Miss Ryan decided to take over the job of our cheer advisor and coach. And I understand that she had signed papers saying that she had read and done and understood what she was doing. But clearly she did not understand what she was doing, because what she was trying to do was to help us and to get our cheer uniforms, to go to competition, to go to our camp, so that we could do the things that we wanted to do, because that's what she wanted us to help us to do. So we understand that what you guys are trying to do is to do your job, but we're hoping that you guys understand that what she was trying to do is just to do her job and to help us and be there for us.
She was the only one that was ever really there for us. She's the only one that has ever cared about things like cheer and dance and stuff. None of that was ever considered throughout all our school, and she decided to take it under her wing and say, yes, I do consider this to be important, and she did what she could to give us what we wanted to make us happy and to help us throughout our years in school. She's been almost like a mom to us. She's the second mom. She's amazing.
We're talking about the same women who would stay every Friday night until 1 in the morning to clean up all of her concession stands and to put it away. We're talking about the same women who would stay until 2 in the morning just to take me home because the moms didn't bother to want to wake up and take me home. We're talking about the same woman who does cheer and volleyball and AVID and still has time to go home. And she still has time to care for us and be there for us. So we understand you're doing your job, and we just hope that you understand that all she was trying to do is do her job and be there for us. Thank you.
Our next action item is consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Are there any comments or any input? Okay, please vote. I'm sorry. Sorry, Larry. I'm just. It was Mr. Vice President Nelson and
Edward.
Mr. Garcia. Now we call for the vote. Okay, the consent calendar for this meeting has been approved 5-0. Other items by our superintendent?
None this evening, President Rao.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Other items by the Board of Trustees? Mr. Garcia? Mr. Stafford? Mr. Ayman? Ms. Nelson? Okay. This time we are going to have a recess we are going to recess the meeting at 5:42 to conduct the regular board meeting of the Parish Union High School District.